Hello, fellow wrestling crusaders, and welcome to another episode. My name's Sean Waskrug. With me, as always, is Jordan JPO Owens.
That's me, Sean. That's me.
I was there. Are you doing the muted thing this time? It's like he's not muted.
No, I was so flabbergasted. I also forget how you built me. I was like, Jordan, I was trying to guess it and I couldn't guess it right.
You don't. We are a pro wrestling show. You have yourself a nickname. I am not going to not use your nickname. Let's be real.
Oh no, no, but it's just like JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens. Like they used to like Jordan J. It just threw me off. I wasn't saying you were wrong by any means. I couldn't predict it. I was trying to mimic you and mime it, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg style, but I couldn't do it.
You could always just go the RVD with it when I do it next time.
JP.
Oh. Yeah. Kind of thing. But anyway, we're here talking about Clash at the Castle. It was this past weekend in Glasgow, Scotland. I think our last, outside of Crown Jewel, which is, I think, in November, our last overseas pay-per-view of the year. And sad to say, I'm kind of bummed by that. I was kind of getting used to the afternoon pay-per-views. Nothing against the night pay-per-views, but I kind of like the afternoon pay-per-views. And the crowd.
A nice change of pace. Like, oh, I'm done and it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's 4 p.m. I can still enjoy the rest of my Saturday. The crowd here, great. That's one thing we can say about all the overseas pay-per-views so far is the crowds have been awesome. They have unique chants. We'll get a little bit further into that as we go. But yeah, I'm a little bummed that we're not doing it anymore. And it's one of those things where it's like, I really am bummed because I'm so annoyed with our fans. Because the stupid, like, fuck, man, the what chants came back within like right away. And I'm just like, guys, you realize that the overseas, no one does the what over there. If they do, we don't know what they're saying it. But it's such an obnoxiously stupid chant.
Well, if they're in Puerto Rico, gay.
Yeah, which, why is everyone saying gay? But
gay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just I'm gonna miss those pay-per-views. I know next year they're probably gonna even do even more. I hope they do. I feel like that those crowds are so much more appreciative of these big events. And now, like I said, the knockoff is, and we said this on last show, is that the cards aren't nearly as big. This was 5 matches. Backlash was, I think, like 5, and I think King Queen of the Ring was 6. And you and I both agree that 7 to 8 is definitely the sweet spot.
You know what I noticed that I thought was kind of interesting? I used to say back in the day, the greedy part of me always thought the NXT events should be a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. Now the NXT events do have more matches than the WWE events.
Yeah, but WWE
at least they're still running a normal 6.
Yeah, exactly. NXT though, they'll do like 3-minute matches here and there.
Not on pay-per-view. Not on those specials.
Okay. Well, not on Takeover. The problem is that they don't call them Takeover anymore, which bums me out. They're just like giving them their own like pay-per-view names.
It does me too. Like, I don't know why. Kill tradition. I'm never a fan of killing tradition. Like, one of my biggest annoyances of all time was when they killed the IC title for like 6 months. Remember that? Yeah. So like, I don't get why break something that's not broken. But I mean, it is what it is. At this point, I'm kind of like, I'm over it now. Where I'm like, all right, it's like a pay-per-view. They're named whatever, Heat Wave, in your house, whatever they're called.
And they're honestly and a lot of people say, oh, WWE's not copying AEW, but now they're doing like pay-per-views on the shows. Like AEW does, like Blood and Guts is coming in January. Now NXT is doing like Great American Bash, and it's 2 NXT shows.
Actually, I'm very interested. Are we sure who did it first? Because NXT's been doing it for a minute.
AEW's been doing it pretty much since they started.
No. Well, hold on. Yeah, but how long have they been around? I'm saying like Halloween Havoc happened. Like their first Halloween Havoc theme was 3 years ago. I'm saying like it's pretty tight.
AEW's been around for 5 years now. So
well, I'm not good at math, Sean.
It's like AEW's been around for 5 years. Collision just got their 1 year.
I'm just saying it's not a new thing from NXT. Is all I'm saying. Like
no, I'm just saying that it's a while now. I don't hate it. I don't hate it by any means because it does add a little more zest to the NXT feel. And those tend to be the ones that I tend to check out. Well, okay, I'll check out a couple of these matches just to see what's going on and what's what. Because I'm just not watching. I always read what happens on NXT, but I don't always watch NXT. Except it's tonight. I was gonna say I didn't read this week, so I was like, wait, it hasn't happened yet. So,
and of course, the interesting going into tonight is there's a battle royal to crown the number one contender for Trick Williams, with the fun caveat of, as they said last week, hey, there'll be some guys you know and some guys you don't know from other locker rooms.
Honestly, the new addition now of TNA potentially merging with NXT has made me more optimistically open to wanting to check it out. Having Jordan Grace pop up was definitely a big plus because I love Jordan Grace. And then Tatum
Paxley challenged Grace for her title on Friday's pay-per-view. Yeah,
is it Paisley or Paxley?
Paxley.
Jeff Hardy came back to TNA, which I could take or leave because even watching him run down the ramp, running down the ramp, he looked rough.
His TNA return was so close to his AEW return, which was Matt's getting beat up and finally Jeff saves him. It's like, jump in sooner, asshole.
He learned because in the AEW one, he's getting beat up. His music hits. He's on the entrance going, like, dude, go help your brother.
I was there live for that. I'm in the crowd for that AEW.
This time, though, he didn't dance. He pretty much, slowly grabbed a chair.
He also could have been out there a good solid, you know what I mean? Just one of those fun wrestling returns.
But that's what I was saying. Jeff didn't look like he was moving well. And they're going to throw him in another ladder match at some point. It's like, Jeff, you need to take, take some serious time off, dude.
I don't even know if it's time off. I think they're just ready to do their last run. I think they might. I think at this point, they probably know this is their last run. Unless WWE wants them back in.
I honestly hope they don't go back to WWE. Because then everyone's expecting it, kind of like when the Dudley Boys came back, and everyone expected one big huge run for them, and it just did not pan out. And then they were just like another team on the roster. I don't want the Hardys back in WWE. I don't need the nostalgia trip. I think Matt and Jeff are I don't want it to get to the point where it's just sad to watch them, and it's getting really, really close to getting sad to watch them. But yeah, and I mean, and like I said, I like a lot of the people on TNA. I just don't watch it. I think there's just too much wrestling in the week, and I got other things I have to do as well. And TNA is the one.
Find the time, man.
TNA is just the one on the wayside. I used to watch TNA religiously, and then it just got stupid, and then the whole Matt Hardy what does he call his stupid house matches, or the compound compound matches that brought me back for a short.
Are they the compound? They just did one last Thursday.
I stopped. I think I watched the three that TNA did.
Myers and Eddie Edwards gets turned into a legit, because Eddie Edwards is the American Wolves. He gets turned into a legit wolf. Come on.
I only prefer the super over the top stuff when Lucha Underground was around, because Lucha Underground was great. TNA doing it just irks me, but it's weird because we're gonna touch base on something like that here a little bit later. But let's get to. Oh, yeah, everyone's talking about it, but let's get Clash of the Castle out of the way first. Like I said, the crowd was awesome. We opened up the show, surprisingly, with Cody versus AJ in the I Quit match. I did not think that they were going to open the show.
I guess it kind of makes sense. You don't want to put that out in the middle, and you kind of want Drew to main event, so...
Honestly, I figured that they would go on third. I thought that they would go on right in the middle. And I figured Sami...
Your big no DQ match, though, makes sense to not put on in the middle, though. In retrospect, I get it. I didn't call that either, but in retrospect, I get it. Do your big blow in the wad of all the hardcore stuff to a degree.
Well, I figured I figured one of the women's matches was going to start because they have hometown people in there, and I thought they wanted to get the crowd hot right away, which Cody is pretty much everybody now. Pretty much anywhere they go, Cody's the number one, thing. So it's a good way to start the show. The crowd... obviously was great. The big Cody Rhodes chant. AJ's chant was great. I loved it. I laughed my ass off when I heard it the first time. You've made it in pro wrestling when you go overseas and they call you a wanker. That is that's when you know you've made it. And only AJ and Gable got that chant in the show. So good job for them. But yeah, Cody and AJ, we got blood. Not just one, both. Yes. Both got blood. I do think Cody's was intentional and AJ's was not, based off of where the cut was.
I didn't see AJ's right away, but yeah, I feel like Cody's had to have been, which means are they cool or did they take a fine? You think Triple H is like?
Let's put it this way: where we were at after Raw last night, I think it was okay.
That's true. There was several people that were murdered. Yeah,
exactly. I think AJ's was probably because the chair being thrown at him. I think a hinge caught him because he got cut right here, and you don't gig yourself right here. That's just a bad place to gig yourself. Cody's was definitely in a spot where it's like, yeah. I'm not mad at it. I was like, oh yay, we got blood. WWE, you're growing back up again. Great.
I mean, I know a Cody proponent, and obviously I think even Triple H was, he's the one that him and Taker took the fine last time they did it on purpose. So,
but yeah, I mean, the actual match itself, I thought was really well done. I told you last week when we were talking about it on our prediction show that I was real worried about the I Quit stipulation because I felt like neither guy really needed to lose the match in an I Quit atmosphere. It doesn't hold the fact that the match was really well done and I liked what they did with it, but it's also I didn't like where AJ quit because it's like, dude, if anything, I would have quit before he bludgeoned me to death with a fucking chair. I'm not really scared of the fucking steel steps in the corner. If anything, the corner is actually going to probably absorb most of the blow than the actual stairs would. So it was just one of those moments where I didn't like that was the moment where AJ quit. But that's just me. Like I said, it's just I don't like the concept of the I Quit match for both these guys. AJ's character is at a point where, and also, why the fuck did Gallows and Anderson not help him? It's no DQ. They should have been down there beating Cody's ass the whole time. There was no reason for that. And then you could have sent someone down there like Kevin and Randy to counter them out. But you're telling me your boy's going in his last match for a title shot, and you guys walked him to the ring, but then you're not gonna fucking help him when you need him to. That part didn't make, especially when he got handcuffed. I figured, okay, well, they're gonna come down now. And they never fucking came down. Like, there's just little points there where I was just like, that didn't work for me. The match itself was fun. I just felt there were certain aspects of it that lacked. Also, a little too much with Cody's mom. Like,
you didn't like too much Cody's mom? Come on.
Cody's mom is fine, but it's one of those things like AJ grabbed the chair and she no-sold it. I don't think she didn't. I mainly think it's because she didn't see it. She didn't see the chair. But it was one of those things where like Cole and Corey are like, oh my God, and Wade. And she didn't react to the chair at all. And you could tell AJ was like, that didn't work kind of thing. I mean, the slaps were good, but I mean, it's one of those things where with a family member, it either works or it doesn't. Like Sammy's wife makes it work. Gable's daughter makes it work. Cody's mom doing this doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. But what were your thoughts on the match overall?
No, I dug it. I always had faith that these two put together a really good match. I loved their first one. Again, I do wish, of course, there'd be a little more juice, and they can. AJ has a chance. Because but no, I liked it. I mean, I kind of get the steel steps. I'll defend it a little bit because I think we're so used to a chair that I do think you kind of have to do something a little bit more. And it is kind of like the best. I don't know if it's the best way of doing it, like the fear more than the actual, he's been hurt so much. So I don't know. And also the fact that it was the opener, I liked it. I didn't mind. Some of the picks weren't too bad for me here.
Those chair shots were brutal, though. Cody laid those in.
No, they were.
I was like,
a hard fought match here.
Also, the announcers called out the calf crusher, and AJ never put the calf crusher on in an I Quit match. Yeah. The calf crusher never came into play. So that was a misstep right there. I'm sorry. I'm going to put you in the one submission hold that I have in my repertoire, and I'm not going to use it in a match that requires you to yell, I quit. Speaking of quitting, let's move on to the women's triple threat tag team match. That we were both wrong on this one. I
don't think anyone was right on this one.
If you were right about this, then you were either a homer or you guys would tell, it would be hilarious if they won. I think they're called the Unholy Union now. Have they always been called that?
I feel like it's been dubbed more recently. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of when that started, but yeah,
Because I
I feel
remember
it's more
last
recent.
I remember last week when we were going over the predictions, they were not labeled as the Unholy Union, and now they
Yeah.
are. Um, that's fine. That's a fine name. I have no problems with it. I thought Alba and Isla did a good job. I thought Bianca did a good job. I thought Baszler and Zoe did a good job. And then there was Jade Cargill. Uh,
And then there's Jade. Yeah.
then there's Jade. This is not something new with Jade. Jade did this in AEW, which is why they had her on a Goldberg streak because her matches wouldn't be that long. So it was less opportunities for her to fuck up. Now, granted, before I go on the complete hate train of Jade, slipping on the top turnbuckle for a springboard, it happens to everybody. That's not the problem I had with this match for her. It was her fucking tapping out on camera to Shayna Baszler. Not once,
Weird.
but twice. Why?
Very weird.
Why did you tap? First, why was Jessica? Thank God Jessica Carr was on the other side of her, out of position. Was she panicking because Shayna maybe had the hold on too tight? Was Shayna kind of giving her a receipt for fucking up? I don't know. But Jade tapping, like straight up, doing this, and then you have the announcers call it out, which made it that much worse. Because everyone saw it except Jessica Carr. I don't know where I'm dumbfounded by that, And then I understand where not the tap out, but I understand where Jade was coming from when she slipped on the springboard. You fucked up. Now you're trying to overcompensate for everything because everything after that just looked rushed and sloppy and not protected of everybody. And I get that. It's quicksand. It's literal quicksand for anyone from a wrestler background. You fucked up. You fucked up. Everyone saw you fucked up. So now you're trying to overcompensate to make everything be better and stronger. And you just keep fucking up. Not as bad, but everything's fallen. You've fallen out of sync with everything. And you just need someone to take you down and reset the structure of the match. And the problem is, it's her comeback. So no one's going to stop her. She's the one doing all the moves at this point. The only thing that saved her was Shayna fucking grabbing her and choking her, which is maybe why she panicked. But still, if you know you're not winning the match, first off, you don't just quit with anybody because they weren't going to win the match either. Now, it does establish them as, I guess, number one contenders because they got screwed, which is what they called out on Raw the next night. But this is something that Jade just does. It's not, I mean, it's a growing pain. She's been doing this for 2 years now. This is why I think she should have started in NXT instead of right to the main roster. Because it's starting to become a habit. And I'm sorry, we give Nia a bunch of shit for this. Now, Nia tends to hurt people, though. Jade hasn't hurt anyone yet. But she is making the same mistakes that Nia makes. What are your thoughts?
No, you said a lot of what I was going to touch upon here. I mean, yeah, first of all, the very surprising win of Alba and Isla. And again, like I kind of feel like I said on the pre-show, on our pre-show, like I'm not against it. The booking just wasn't there because they hadn't been on TV, they've been squashed. But
it's their first win, and you went through the whole backtrack record last time.
Yeah, no, I looked it up, and also too, they have been calling them the Holy Union since about late last year, but that is a later on name. Like they were never that in NXT or anything, so that is.
I don't think they called them that when they were on SmackDown or anything because they didn't give them the time of day to even consider giving them a name. Basically, they just called them.
They were barely on SmackDown. Yeah. They lost their titles, and then you didn't see them on SmackDown for another 6 months.
Yeah.
By then, they were the Unholy Union. But you see them so little, so I can see why you forgot, because they're on TV so little. But no, so I'm happy for him here, and obviously there was some backstory on the post-scrum. Triple H mentioned that Alba went through a family loss recently here. He tried, make sure to say, like, another reason they won, by the way. But no, I'm happy to see fresh faces get it. I'm happy to see a real team get it too. Like that's why I was upset that like the real team not only lost the titles right away, but then it faded into obscurity for a little while because they were kind of a real set team for once that had kind of the same kind of look-ish to a degree and given to a degree.
I mean, so I will say this: they're a lot like Bianca and Jade. They were two singles wrestlers who were forced into a tag team.
Yeah.
But then they melded and gelled together, much like Bianca and Jade had started to do. So it's just that it's Bianca and Jade, and these two are way bigger than a tag team. They're both top star calibers. Yeah. So it's just weird watching them kind of be relegated to a tag team feud. Now,
I mean, it made sense at first because you want to protect Jade, and that's why, I'm very flabbergasted as to where are they going to go with the fact that, even if it didn't count, as far as loss wise, like she tapped, like so she looks weak to us already.
Exactly. So how are you going to clear that up on SmackDown?
I guess that could be a heel move of like, oh, I never tapped, you know what I mean? Like get some heat behind it, maybe, I guess. But I don't know. Weird decision.
Yeah. So where do you think this is going to go on SmackDown? Do you think this is going to lead to a Jade thing, or are they just going to try to pretend like it didn't happen? Which is hard to because Shayna called her out on it on Raw.
No,
and also
brought it back up exactly. Shayna
they brought it right.
I made her tap pretty much.
Yeah, they didn't even wait. It was like the first freaking line out of Shayna's mouth.
Yeah. And as it should be, that is a claim.
Yeah, exactly. It would be almost. It's one of those things where Triple H is like, well, we can't. It was right on camera. Everyone saw it. The commentators saw it. We can't ignore it. Now, Jade can try to ignore it, but Bianca doesn't seem like the type of character who would be like, girl, yes, you did. Like, she's not going to go, no, she didn't tap. Yeah, you did. But do you see a decent length title reign for Unholy Union, or do you think they're going to drop the belts right back to Jade and Bianca, or do you think that we're going to start getting the unraveling of Jade and Bianca to an actual singles feud? Where do you think this is going?
No, I don't think we're going to see the title switch again. I mean, if we do, then this was truly just if they do lose them right back to Jade and Bianca, then it was sadly a thank you reign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we like you. This is your hometown. You've gone through some tough shit. Because I hope it's not. I hope they do have an okay reign, whether or not it's, a couple months, 6 months, or whatever the case may be.
I'd be happy with till SummerSlam. If they make it to SummerSlam, like, you know what? That's good. But yeah, if they drop it on SmackDown or in the next couple SmackDowns right back, no. Now, we know there's going to be a title shot coming. Bianca and Jade are going to get a title shot. I know Shayna and Zoe deserve a title shot as well. Now, if they're going to go against Bianca and Jade, this is where we got to have the heel turn. If we're not going to get the belts right back to them, because Unholy Union, while I love Alba Fry and Isla Dawn, I keep telling that to my girlfriend every time they come up. I'm like, they are actually a really, really good tag team. If WWE would just give them the chance, which here's your chance, guys, run with it. Because how many times have we had these wins or these title changes, and we're like, oh, they're a transitional champion. We thought that with Kurt Angle the first time Kurt won. Like, oh, he's just transitioning the belt to this person. And Kurt kept it for like 6+ months. Damien Priest right now, people think he's just a transitional champion. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Guess what? Sean was 100% right on his prediction. But it's transitional champions can last. Fucking Jinder Mahal is probably the most strangest one because he had zero momentum, and he kept that belt for a few months. Don't hinder Jinder, or do you want to hinder Jinder?
We'll hinder him all day. Yeah. Now listen, seems like a nice guy, but
horrible title reign. It was a horrible title reign.
It was a horrible title reign because I'm sorry, he never rose above being better than an okay mid-carder, and that was proven when he lost it, and he immediately went back to being an okay mid-carder.
Yeah, I mean, so Unholy Union, it's kind of in their court. Triple H needs to give them an opportunity to show what they can do, which they're both totally capable of doing it. Because if you do immediately just give it right back to Bianca and Jade, then it's exactly what you said. It's a tip of the cap. We appreciate you. You're in your hometown. And Alba, sadly, your mother just passed away. We want to give you something to be happy about right now. Which is kind of condescending to a point as well. Because like even after the match, I'd be like, they can say that they became tag team champions for a week. Or can they say, no, we were actually good tag team champions. I think Triple H is going to be more so on let's give them a run. And if they do get that rematch with Bianca and Jade and you're not going to give the belts back to Bianca and Jade, then you need to start doing the split. doing the separation, doing something, because you're gonna have to find a way for it to make sense that they can beat them. Because I don't know if you can find a way outside of shenanigans for Alba and Isla to beat Bianca and Jade straight up because of how they've built up Bianca and Jade so far. So you're going to have shenanigans to make that make sense, or cheating works too. Because you're not going to have Zoe and Shayna there to take the fall. Like Jade or Bianca's going to have to take the pin at some point. But next, probably the one match that you and I were not happy with the outcome on. Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. I think you and I had at least 3 or 4 different ways this could have ended, but none of them was for Sami to keep the belt. I think this feud, especially after Raw, I think this feud ran its course. I don't want to see Sami and Chad wrestle again. They're good. Their matches are always good, but I'm kind of now over this feud. Now, granted, it looks like Sami is moving on after what we saw on Raw, and Gable is a whole other story we're going to talk about later. But the match itself, like, even as I was watching it, I was just like, okay, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, and I think the fans were kind of in the same boat. Like, they chanted, but they also, it's hard to buy into any near fall when Otis and Maxine haven't done anything yet in the match, because you know it's eventually coming. So anytime a near fall is coming, it's like, well, they're going to kick out because Otis and Maxine haven't gotten involved yet. And even when it did get involved, it was just like, okay, Chad's going to win. And then Chad didn't win. And then you're just like, well, fuck, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing now. What are we actually doing here? So I was kind of peeved about this match overall. What were your thoughts?
I don't know if I'd say peeved, because again, they put on a really good match itself. It just, again, I felt like, and damn, I still do, that the juice was in, a Chad run, because, I like Sami, but, like, man, I really want to kind of build Chad. He did mention maybe going for Money in the Bank as well before the other Chad moment. So, hey, if they pivot to that, I guess I'm not against that.
First off, the match he has for Money in the Bank, unfair. Totally unfair. Braun and Bronson, that's not fair. That's not fair at all.
That should be the Chad Gable promo. It was like, I went backstage to yell at Adam Pearce, and next thing I know, some buzzards attacking me, and I pass out.
Yeah, now I got to fight Bronson and Braun.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But I could definitely see him easily, like, Braun does whatever to Braun. Braun does something to Braun's son. Oh yeah, Braun's son. And
we got Braun, Braun, and Bronson. Why are they not a group together? The Braun
trio.
Braun,
and Bronson.
No. Oh, it's not gonna happen. You put Gable with Braun, and Bronson, brains and bronze. Brain and bronze. There you go. So and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, but it would make sense.
Thank you.
Or we go back in the 80s and Bobby the Brain Heenan is their manager. The Brain and the Bronze.
Bam. Oh, he would have loved those guys.
Oh, he would have loved it. He would have loved it.
So, yeah, I mean, on paper, not a bad match here. But, yeah, again, I just kind of felt like it went back to just the status quo. It felt like we were watching another episode of Raw, because nothing really...
Yeah, because we've seen this match 4 times.
But the triple got last month,
Yeah. Next, we've got Bayley versus Piper Niven. Good match, but goddamn, Chelsea Green was the star of this match. Chelsea Green, when she came back dressed as Ray, I'm sorry, Chelsterio is her name. I busted a gut laughing. Like, I was like so happy when she showed back up with the Ray mask on. The match itself, Bayley and Piper put on a real good match. I thought Piper actually looked better coming out of this match than not that it was intended, because you always want to look strong coming out of the match. I think Piper looked great coming out of this. Bayley always looks great. So, I mean, there's nothing, unless Bayley goes out there and shits the bed, which Bayley's never really done. She's always going to look good. But I think this was really Piper and Chelsea's night to really kind of elevate. I thought that Michinoku driver looked really brutal on Bayley. I'm glad Bayley was okay in it. I also like that Bayley kind of won with a shocking finisher. It wasn't like a roll up or anything, but she uses the momentum of Piper's weight to counter her and win the match that way. I think all that looked really good. I think honestly one of the best booking decisions they could do, I don't see them doing it, at least not this year, is Chelsea getting into Money in the Bank and Chelsea winning it. And then you have the whole year of Chelsea trying to cash in, and Chelsea's just not a believable person that you think can cash in and win. But that's what I would love to see them go with the women's Money in the Bank. I don't see it happening, but I would love to see that. But yeah, it was a good match overall. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, another one where I'm happy to see Piper get the shot. She's someone that has deserved this kind of nice one-on-one shot for a minute here. And yeah, love me some Chelsea Green. And I love your Money in the Bank pitch. I think she is the kind of perfect foil to constantly get screwed or, about to do it, gets attacked by, whoever. I think there could be a lot of fun there.
If I was booking it, first off, they'd have to practice this a lot to make sure that Chelsea doesn't get hurt. But you put Chelsea in the match, you have her in the ring, she's laid out. You have whoever, like probably Lyra Valkyrie and somebody. They're battling up on the ladders. They're fighting over the briefcase. They both have a hold of it. It slips out of both their hands and falls right down on a prone, laid down Chelsea. And Chelsea wins. That's how I would book it. I wouldn't book Chelsea climbing up and grabbing it. I'd book it as it's pure accident. You have two wrestlers who have pulled the briefcase off the hook. It slips out of their hands right onto a knocked out Chelsea Green. The briefcase wakes her up. I won. That's how I would book it.
No, I love. Yeah, she's got to win in some sort of fun way. Yeah.
Yes, you book it in an accidental way, and you give her a solid year of building her up, comedy wise, but building up into a believability of winning the belt. Way better than they did with Otis when Otis won the Money in the Bank. And you're just like, what the fuck are we going to do with Otis? And then what did they do? They did fucking nothing with it. But you can't do that with Chelsea. But yeah, so you thought the match was good overall?
Yeah, no, I did. I dug it. I did think there was something maybe left to where they could do maybe more if they ever got a rematch, but I liked what they did.
I would love to see Piper stay in the hunt, especially because you have the ability, especially if Chelsea were to win the Money in the Bank, you have the ability. I know everyone uses this as the example because it was a perfect kind of thing of it. The Shawn Diesel angle, Diesel Piper is the bodyguard, she's the brute. Chelsea Shawn is the pretty one, but Shawn was obviously way more better capable of a wrestler than Chelsea was, the character wise. But eventually Chelsea starts to get more popular and it starts to do more shady shit. Piper doesn't like it, which looked like they were going to do that a while ago, but then Piper kind of just molded into the Chelsea of it all. But they could still go that route with it. They also did that with Alexa Nia Jax at one point. Like it's a sound true formula. They've done it tenfold since Shawn and Diesel. And they can easily do it here with Chelsea and Piper. I think it would work really well. Yeah. But that Money in the Bank, the more and more I keep pitching that in my head, the more and more I want that to happen.
No, I'm not going to be disappointed if it doesn't, kind of in a way, because I think she could have a lot of fun with it, and I'm down for her to actually succeed it too, and down the line, like you said, you could really milk it for a while.
She could be, and I honestly wouldn't even be mad at this. She could be the only one who makes it through the whole term without being able to cash it in. And then we get to the next Money in the Bank, and it's like, Chelsea, you have to cash in or you don't get a chance. And then she either does or doesn't at that point. She could be the first one who's just is never able to fully cash in the thing the whole way through. I would be okay with that booking for her as well because it would fit Chelsea's character. Next, we got the big main event. We got Damien Priest against Drew McIntyre. Drew, man, that crowd. Oh man, when Drew came out, like if that doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. You had the bagpipe players out there. I can't remember what their actual names were. They came out there. They did the Roddy Piper theme. I know that's not the Roddy Piper theme, but that's what I know it as. Drew coming out there in his old like Drew Galloway like updated attire. Him just being like pumped up to the teeth from that crowd. I thought was great. Damien came out there looking great. I was legit worried on that rope spot because I've gotten tangled in the ropes before like that. It hurts like a motherfucker. I was worried until Drew started attacking Damien. I'm like, okay, he's going to be okay. But even then, you could tell Damien was legitimately like bothered by it, as he should have, because getting tangled in the ropes. I don't know if you've ever been tangled on the ropes before, but it sucks. It really, really sucks. I got tangled up from the waist. I got flipped into it, and it looked like you were being pulled apart right down the middle. It sucks for your ankle, and especially with Damien's weight of that as well. Really, really painful spot. But he managed to pull off the rest of that match really, really well with that ankle injury. But like I said, exactly how I said it was going to happen, it exactly happened that exact same way. WWE, I'm still waiting for your call for, as a writer, because apparently I know exactly what you guys are going to do for the most part. But what were your thoughts on Priest and Drew?
I did like it. Obviously, the momentum was really behind Drew. I mean, they really tried selling this on Drew. Even the opening package was like,
oh yeah,
had all his clips, and I was like, every once in a while, maybe a picture of Damien. It was like the Drew show with the blue hands by Damien. The pre-show, I didn't watch it, but I fast forward through it. There's like a sit-down interview with Drew. There's a whole thing about how Drew helped ICW get their biggest show in Scotland up to that point. Like, it really was the Drew show. And I got to give kudos too to the they obviously planned the Punk shot, because it really is a great from behind.
It's like anyone who's watching sees slicked back hair. It's like, that's Punk, but it's still like it's the only way to do it without making. I mean, I wasn't looking at hair. Oh, as soon as he slid into the ring, I'm like, shoes, hair. That's Punk. I was like, that's totally Punk. I will commend this. That ref, not Punk, the actual ref. That spot before he got hit, where he dove out of the ring to avoid getting hit, dude. The fucking reaction time speed out of that ref at that moment was amazing. And then then he immediately gets hit right after that. It was like, oh. But yeah, continue. What were your thoughts on the match outside of Punk?
I mean, other than that, I don't know. I'm still not like next level of Damien. I do like him. I like his promos. I thought he was actually really good at the scrum. Too. I don't know if you saw, like, he kind of pulled the almost Roman Reigns, like, where he was like, all right, no, stand up and appreciate your champ. I'm not leaving, or I'm not starting. All rise, thank you. Yeah, all rise, and I'm really not going to start fucking rise. So, I like his aura. Yeah, I mean, the match I thought was good. I wouldn't say great, but still pretty good. I like the Issue. I thought it was kind of a weird, like, technically heel.
Yeah, I mean, but here, Drew's 100% the babyface, and Drew played into the babyface. The problem is that I think the match would have been played off a little bit differently if Damien hadn't injured his ankle in the match. I think they had to call an audible on it, but I mean, still, kudos to Damien.
That was scary. I mean,
yeah,
they were even selling it on the scrum as like, we don't know how he is.
Well, yeah, because he even said, he was like, I didn't get it checked out yet. I immediately came in here for the scrum. He's like, I was like, it's trash right now. Because even last night when he came out to cut his promo, I was like, oh, he looks fine. And then he took a step, like, oh, nope, never mind. He's got a limp. It's like, I was like, he's definitely not wrestling tonight. But I mean, he still was walking around and doing everything, like normal. He's going to
obviously he's good enough to where they're guaranteeing him for whatever money the bank is. So
yeah, he's going to be sore for a week or so, but he'll be fine. It's nothing that ice and some heat won't fix. But I commend him though for getting someone the size of Drew up for a razor's edge on basically one leg. That's no easy feat. That's no easy feat at all.
Big boy.
Yeah,
big boy normally.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a good match and it was a good show. I think either the crowd, it's one of two ways. Either the crowd expected Punk, because the reaction wasn't as strong as I expected. It's either the crowd really likes Punk and they didn't really know how to react, or everyone expected Punk to show up, and so they were kind of prepared for Drew not winning. Because it was not as cutthroat as I expected it to be when Punk went and did what he did. Do you agree, disagree?
No, actually, no. You make a good point. At first, you kind of wonder if they're gonna like trash on him, because there is even areas in the U.S. that will hate him. It seems like an arm almost more anti-Punk than Punk. But no, I think there were some people that were upset, but then like you saw large chunks that were just excited for the storytelling, excited for him. You know what I mean? He even found like his little pocket. You know, the next time you zoomed in on him,
He found the four Punk fans.
yeah,
yeah. And then
he is a worldwide guy, so I think it is one of those just fun, like, oh, cool, the story's continuing kind of thing, you know.
And then he got to have some donuts during the press conference, so it was fun.
Yeah. He's a big snacky boy, huh? During this press conference, always has brownies or donuts or a little snacky.
He's like, look, if I'm gonna sit here and do this, I want my snacks. He's like a little child. But yeah, that was Clash at the Castle. Going into Raw, let's do a brief rundown of Raw because some shit went down on Raw.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins came back, and I was so excited because the first thing that I got excited about was because who has him in fantasy? This guy. I'm gonna start getting.
You don't even care about storylines anymore. You just want shit to work out for your points.
I'm gonna start getting the Seth Rollins fantasy points.
I hope he loses in Money in the Bank. We don't see him again.
That's the thing, though. I was like, because here my thought process is okay. Here's Seth. Okay, here's where the Wyatt 6 is gonna come back because who are you gonna put Seth in a feud with? Damien's got Gunther. Drew's got Punk. Who's Seth have? Okay, he can have the Wyatt 6. That'll carry him to SummerSlam. But that didn't happen. Damien came out and said, hey, I want to beat you. I'll give you the title shot at Money in the Bank. And now I'm going, shit. Now I don't know who's going to win. Because, I'm sorry, the money for SummerSlam would make sense if it was Seth and Gunther.
It does. It totally makes sense.
It does totally make sense. But here's the thing. We all are in the mindset that we want Gunther to win the belt. You're not going to let Seth win and then lose a month later to Gunther.
You're not?
No, not Seth Rollins. No. Seth
is bigger than that, and I think that's a really big coup for Gunther. That doesn't scare me as much as you.
I don't think. Let's put it this way: if Seth wins the title at Money in the Bank, I don't think Gunther wins at SummerSlam. I just don't. If Damien wins, then Gunther's winning at SummerSlam. That's where I'm going with it right now. Because WWE is not going to hot potato this world title belt like they did back when the Undisputed belt was a thing where there was a new champ every fucking month. They're not going to do it. They're not.
I don't know. I'm not saying they'll do that either, but I do think, because it's pro wrestling, hear me out. There's a medium to everything. I truly feel this. I don't like hot potatoing. I never have. I never will. I don't like squash matches. Like, a lot of those things I don't love. But in wrestling, sometimes certain people just have your numbers if you try to go logically. I think if you do it rarely, and I think this is just simply Gunther is that unstoppable, this will be Seth's second run with the title. I don't think it's going to hurt anybody.
The reason why I don't think it would work is, one, we just did a hot potato at WrestleMania, which made sense because it was a Money in the Bank thing. Drew beats Seth. 5 minutes later, he loses it to Drew.
And then it was different.
I know it's a different spectrum. I'm not using that as it's, oh, they're doing that again. But I just don't. It would make Damien feel like more of an afterthought of a champion if he drops it to Seth and then Seth then immediately drops it to Gunther. Even though Damien is not even a part of the match, it makes his reign look even less than by comparison. Like, yes, he beat Jay, he beat Drew. Both of them were by interference. You got to make Damien look strong. What's one way to make Damien look strong going into a match with Gunther? He beats Seth Rollins, who just came back from injury. But if you're going to have Seth come back and win because he is the bigger draw going against Gunther at SummerSlam, I get it. But you're not then just going to immediately have Seth drop the fucking belt to Gunther then. It's just, it's not good booking. You're going to have to make it make sense. And right now, lining it up, it doesn't make sense. I think it hurts more people than it helps. So you either give Damien the rub and you have him find a way to beat Seth. And then you have a three if you want to count Jay, 3 big profile wins for Damien going into SummerSlam with Gunther, which adds a little more clout to the Damien Priest name. Or he is just holding the belt for Seth. But Seth wasn't supposed to be in the championship race right now anyway. It was supposed to be Drew and Punk. Or because the Drew and Seth feud was not going to continue when Drew won the belt. Seth was going to be going away for a while anyway. And then at that point, then you're putting Seth right back into the title picture, which is why I thought it would have made more sense if the Wyatt Sick, since that's what they're actually called, would have jumped Seth, because you're throwing them right in the middle of a high-profile feud. Seth can stretch that. Seth's had a feud with Bray / The Fiend. He's a marked man from the past, so it makes sense that they would go after him. And then they could stretch that feud because there's 4 dudes in that group. Seth can ride that feud for months if they wanted to, and then you take these 2 weeks or these 2 months to build Gunther and Damien. You know, because you have Ludwig's kind of on his own thing now. Ludwig's going for the IC title with Sheamus and potentially now with Sam, because they're definitely setting that up for a 4-way at Money in the Bank, unless they're going to be putting them in the Money in the Bank match themselves. They literally look like they're setting up a Braun, Ludwig, Sami, and Sheamus match in some form or fashion. Don't you agree with that?
I don't know if they're going to do a 4-way. I think by the time we get to Money in the Bank, that could be whittled down just to 1.
Yeah, I mean, they could be. But it doesn't look like that they're going to be thrown into any Money in the Bank qualifiers, is what I'm saying. Which means that they're kind of going to be in this mix with Sami, which good. Gives Sami some new opponents. Sami hasn't really fought Sheamus. He hasn't fought Braun. He's fought Ludwig, but this is a different kind of Ludwig now. So it feels a little more fresher, more new. But yeah, that's why I kind of thought it would make sense that, hey, Seth's back, yay! But here comes the Wyatt Sick. And because if you didn't catch it, and some people have caught it, during that promo with Rollins and Damien, the Wyatt Sick, or at least Uncle Howdy, was in the stands watching the match. There was a person in a silhouette up in the upper corner with bright lights behind him, and then there was more people around him. Granted, I was like, that doesn't work because the crowd's going to get distracted, and the crowd did not get distracted by it. It could just been somebody standing up there, and it looked like it, but it definitely looked like someone wearing a top hat like Uncle Howdy. God, I hope he goes by Bo Dallas and not Uncle Howdy. But it looked like them, or one of them, watching Seth's promo on Raw. People have been posting it all over Twitter. People are acknowledging it. It just made more sense. Now, could they do that at Money in the Bank? Could Damien be fighting Seth and the Wyatt Sick attack Seth then? And then that leads... Because, if Damien wins against Gunther, what is Seth's match at SummerSlam going to be? What feud are we giving Seth for SummerSlam? The Wyatt Sick make the most sense to me. Can you think of anyone else that you would put outside of Seth winning the belt and going against Gunther? Where would you see Seth going into SummerSlam against?
No, at the moment, no. I don't know. A lot of what you said does make sense. I was just leaving. The match quality stands out for me for Rollins versus Gunther, but I do think everything you say does track pretty well, though.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I think everyone would love to see Drew, Seth, and Punk, but Seth's been out of commission. Drew Punk needs to happen. You don't throw Seth into that shit. Not yet, anyway. Seth needs to kind of do his own separate thing for a little while. Act like it doesn't bother him. He don't care. This is a Drew Punk thing that's definitely going to happen. But yeah, we also got the official breakup of Alpha Academy. Otis pushed down Gable, basically said they're gone. They quit. And then Gable got murdered last night.
Shot in the head.
Looked like straight up shot in the head. Obviously, other stuff happened on Raw, but the main focal point was the debut of the Wyatt Sick. I thought it was fucking awesome. I think some people wanted to embellish and make it a lot bigger than what it was, because a lot of people are calling out that Seth was a part of the bodies, Gunther was a part of the bodies, Dominic, who else? Gunther, Ludwig, Carmelo Hayes, Cody, Triple H, Io Sky was in there at some point. Guys, Jordan and I have gone back and watched this. Braun was another one. Gable was the only fucking wrestler in that thing. If they were others, they would have focused on them like they did with Gable.
it's very poorly edited that if it's not, or poorly thought through. Yeah, because Gable clearly gets it's Gable. It's on his face.
Oh my
He's in
god!
his ear too, so he stands out. Pretty much everyone else is wearing like security black. You know what I mean? It looked like it was all the local security / jobbers of that area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like we even looked at like, yeah, there's one dude whose side face looks like Gunther, but if they took out Gunther, wouldn't they show that? Wouldn't they go, this is...
They would go, oh my god, Gunther. Yeah, exactly. They would be freaking out. If it was Seth, which everyone thinks that Seth is the guy who head looks like it was blown out from the back. First off, that dude's wearing a tie. That dude had, like, braids. Seth didn't have any of that shit.
No, that's a weird...
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'm not even sure what they saw to see Seth in that, but that's...
A lot of people thought the big bald dude was Braun. First off, Braun doesn't have that tattoo, so it definitely wasn't Braun. It was just a local talent kind of thing. There was no one in there that looked like Triple H. There was no woman knocked out, so I don't know where Io Sky comes into play, unless they're thinking of the one that looks like Dom was Io, which once again, you're telling me that Eric Rowan beat the shit out of Io Sky? That doesn't look well. That doesn't look good. But anyway, first off, they didn't have to do Gable that way. Gable didn't deserve to get shot in the head. I think that they should have brought Ricochet back for 1 week, and that should have been Ricochet. Bye, Ricochet. You're gone. You're officially gone now.
He was killed in a different way. He was killed in.
And then here's the funny thing too. Funny thing too is you said that Samantha should not have been at Clash of the Castle. She was, but then she wasn't at Raw.
Yeah, I know.
They said she'd be back next week, but to Gable didn't deserve that. Gable did not deserve to be the focal point of the jump.
I almost want to leave room that maybe some of them were wrestlers, because why is Gable the only dude there? Like, exactly. Why wasn't that half of the roster?
Exactly.
So that's what makes me think, like, maybe that was Gunther? Was it Dominic? Like,
I
did
don't
they just
think
not
it. But,
think that through?
But the funny thing, there was a funny tweet. Well, first off, Carmelo got on and said, that wasn't me. I'm over here. You know, I wasn't a part of that. Bronson Reed. Did you see his tweet?
Nah.
So, because like I said, people are calling out, oh, Braun was a part of that. Gable clearly was a part of it. Bronson goes, so both my opponents are murdered. Does that mean I qualify for Money in the Bank now? It's a good question to ask. Bravo, fucking
now, right?
Bravo, Bronson, because they are wrestling next week, and Gable looks like got shot in the head, and some people think that's Braun. Bronson's tweet, perfect.
That's great. Perfect. And I will say this too, not to nitpick, because I'm excited that we're kind of continuing Wyatt's spirit and whatnot. But I will say Gable's makeup definitely looked like a bullet wound.
It definitely looks like a bullet wound.
One dude beneath, whether it's maybe Dexter or whoever, like just blood splatter. Again, I'm like,
oh yeah, that was definitely Dexter sitting up on the box, like in Indian style or cross leg, however you want to call it. Gacy was the one that you just walked through the door. It's like, oh, there's a dude. That was Joe Gacy. Yeah. Rowan. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Nikki looks great. I love the way Nikki looked. And for anyone who doesn't think that's Nikki, go check her Twitter feed. She's already changed her profile picture and everything to that picture. She did not hide the fact that is totally Nikki Cross. I would have waited, given it some time, but Nikki looked great there. Eric looked great. I had to point it out to Jordan. A lot of people probably didn't catch it because the camera was moving the way it is. The back of his mask is Luke Harper, Brody Lee's Bludgeon Brothers mask. So a beautiful callback to Brody, which I thought was beautiful. But like I said, it's a blink and you miss it moment. Some people, I think you and I are in agreement. My girlfriend is not in agreement. Right when they go backstage, they pan the camera off to the side. There is someone standing in the corner. A lot of people are saying that was Alexa, but it isn't clear enough to make out who it is. But there is someone standing over there. And maybe Alexa's just not ready to come out yet. Maybe they want to keep Alexa hidden until their first big match. But a lot of people, you and I are in agreement. We think that's Alexa. Then it goes down a hallway. We get to see Eric Rowan.
Well, it's definitely somebody. I'm not sure if it's just Howdy, like, looking on, and like
it could have been Howdy too, yeah.
Again. Or it's Alexa, because I also do buy the logic of one. Who knows? It might have been Alexa, but it wasn't truly Alexa. As in, like, she's not totally ready yet. Or also, too, I believe in the fact of like not blowing your wad all at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When
which is
Alexa
why
appears,
he's someone in the corner. Yeah,
that's a whole nother level of a pop.
I would
So,
just hope
you know what
it's not some random dude who just accidentally got caught on camera, because they made a focal point of looking over there and then
No,
looking over
somebody
here.
was there specifically, and like he's even kind of like that. Him or her is even kind of like highlighted. I feel like in the face area. So
Yeah,
I know some people have speculated the sixth person is Wyatt himself as the spirit. I've heard
it's
that been
Alexa.
thrown out there.
It's Alexa.
I don't see why it wouldn't be Alexa. I can see them not doing Braun, maybe just let him do his own thing.
Yeah,
But I don't see why Alexa wouldn't do it. I think so.
if it was Braun, then Braun would be the leader because of just his standing. It wouldn't be Bo, and Bo needs to be the leader hand in hand, kind of with Alexa, because Alexa is Bray's number 2, and Bo is obviously Bray's brother. It would make sense that those two are the leaders, unless they want to count 6 as Sister Abigail. But everyone always said that Alexa was going to become Sister Abigail to a point. So it only makes sense that it is Alexa. But going down the line of the track, we got to see, like I said, Rowan. Rowan looked great. Now, granted, anyone who knows anyone, you remember everyone's tattoos. Like, that was 1,000% Rowan. When you went into the gorilla position, that was 1,000% Dexter Loomis, because we know what his tattoos look like. Gacy, I don't know Gacy well enough to know, but I just know that Gacy's definitely a part of the group, so that was definitely Gacy. And then, of course,
definitely Gacy's the same thing as Nikki. Gacy also has changed his Twitter now to that.
Exactly. They're not really hiding that they're not a part of the damn group.
Yeah.
Then we see Gable, dead. And then we get to see Uncle Howdy. I'm going to keep calling him Bo Dallas because I just hate Uncle Howdy. That just sounds so stupid. Wearing a glove that says Bray, which I thought was a beautiful touch to it as well. He walks through. Everyone walks through. They all meet up at the entranceway. He picks up Bray's lantern. We're here, blows it out, cuts to black. Obviously, everyone wants more, but like my girlfriend says, everyone just needs to be patient. They bled this storyline for how many months has it been since the first QR code? Like 2-3 months, maybe longer.
They've taken their time. They've been teased about it on the documentary, which I think was like, when was that doc? It was.
I still haven't watched the doc yet. I still haven't watched the doc. Yeah, I want. So, it made me want to watch the doc last night. I didn't, but it made me want to watch it.
I would, especially with buildup of this. I would, because like it kind of hints at like that's why I think this is kind of a really unique, kind of different, beautiful concept we've ever really had in wrestling, which is it's basically it's a tribute gimmick. It's a keeping his spirit alive kind of gimmick.
1,000%.
Really interesting, and that's why like I'm for, just because I liked what he did both in the ring and then also from outside of the ring too. Seems like was also a good guy who, you know what I mean. Bo Dallas. I mean, watch the doc and fucking bring a tissue. I'll say now, by the way, because if Bo will get you, I think his parents will get you too. Forget they're both still here. So yeah, no, this is I hope it's handled well. It's interesting. You got a lot of juggling parts. You know what I mean. You got 3 male roster members, or is it 4 male roster members and a female?
Four men and 2 women. If Alexa is the 6th, it will be 2 men, 4 men, 2 women. The only thing that I see that they need to, the one thing that they gotta figure out, they gotta find a balance, is they need to make it a lot more like the Wyatt family and less like the Fiend. Because if you make them completely unstoppable like the Fiend, then you're only going to go downhill from there, because eventually they're going to have to lose, and then it becomes now you got to make sense for how anyone can lose a match against these people. But you don't want to go too far to the point where they can lose to anybody. So you need to make it like the Wyatt family, where they're an unstoppable force, but they have the ability to lose a match from here or there. Whereas with the Fiend, Seth Rollins can give you like 8 curb stomps and bury you alive, and yet you still can't be pinned. You can't go that far with it. They're gonna have to find a healthy mix. I
have a sense of evil, but like humanity as well, and vulnerability to some degree,
Yeah, exactly. It was no different than when Undertaker started. I mean, when he first started, the only way he could lose was by disqualification, because he wouldn't let go of a chokehold, or he would cheat or something like that. It took 3 years for him to finally lose a legitimate match, which was against Yoko, but it took like 20 guys to beat him, and then he started to lose like normal after that. It was still a rarity when he would lose, but it made sense when he lost his matches, and then it just kind of became a normal thing. But you can't go full Fiend with this. But it looked good. I know a lot of people also, while there's 10 people out there who fucking loved it, there's another 5 people who hated it because it looked super cheesy and fake and stuff like that. And it's like, if you guys aren't understanding the concept of what they're trying to do here, then you guys are completely either over-analyzing it, or you guys just don't want to give into the not the nostalgia, but the aura of what Bray Wyatt is and everything. Like, it's pro wrestling. It's not like he just murdered a guy. Why isn't he being arrested? It just shut the fuck up. Just watch the show for what it is. Bray was Go ahead.
I can understand to a degree somebody it's not being their complete cup of tea, but like I also argue like, hey man, to me that's what wrestling is. Like, yeah, I want my Chad Gable Olympic wrestler and my females and my tag teams and my I want a little bit of everything, and I think there is a spot for this in pro wrestling 100%. So I'm down
and they can gel and they can mold and gel together as one. They can all work.
I already know about 6 different friends that have probably bought that T-shirt already. There's already a T-shirt up on WWE Shop.
I almost wanted to buy 2 of them last night.
I had friends asking as soon as Raw ended, they were like, "Where's the T-shirt, man? Where's the T-shirt?"
Those T-shirts dropped like 5 minutes after Raw aired. Calm down.
No, I'm telling you, I had people that didn't want to wait.
I still remember. Let's put it this way: WWE fucked me when Fiend first came out and they dropped those masks. I bought it. It got back ordered for a year, and eventually they were like, "Look, man, you're just not getting one," and gave me back my money. And I was like, there's no way this is still back ordered a year later. I want that Fiend mask. WWE never gave it to me. And I put an order in for it and I never got it. It was bullshit.
I guarantee this will be the number 1 seller of the week, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of the shirt with all of them on it, but I like the one with the logo, and then the one where let us in. I liked all that. I thought all that looked great.
Yeah, that's the one I would probably get as the logo one for sure.
Yeah. Did you catch Jay at the end of Raw?
No, what does he do?
They interviewed Jay after, like, hey man, congratulations on your win. What'd you think of the Wyatt 6? He goes, they can have the Fireflies. I ain't messing with that family. Like don't come at me. Like, hey, I did it out of respect for Bray. Y'all can have the Fireflies back. I'm glad I rose them up for you. You guys can have them. I don't want no beef with that family. They can. You guys stay over there. I'm gonna stay over here. So,
thank God I was wrestling. He should have been like, thank God I was wrestling those last 10 minutes, huh?
Exactly. JB and Jay. Hey, I don't want no beef. Like y'all can have them. I thought that was great. So yeah.
I do kind of wish they had shown like Triple H specifically because
that was literally. That was my thought process too. It's like they're going into Gorilla, and I mean, like,
Pierce?
Where's H? Where's H? Where's H? And I was like, did H just run? Did he run away?
No.
Or is H still there?
No, that's the thing. Yeah, the Chad thing's weird. I wish they had shown a couple more wrestlers specifically. That's why I'm leaving out the possibility that it was other wrestlers because I find it weird that only Chad gets a shout out, or like or he's the only wrestler that they felt should be get beat up.
I mean, he's really, honestly, the only one last night outside of Braun that was being a dick. But you're not going to attack Braun.
Is that it? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, is that it? Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I would have loved it if they went into Gorilla and everything was happening, and Triple H was just still sitting at his table with his plugs in, like, keep going, go that way. So, like, kind of like almost like a DX approach, like. Like, I'm not here, guys.
Yeah, but no, I did dig the aesthetic of it, of them going into. I like the fact that Gorilla's become kind of like a semi.
It's become its own part of the show because even got that with Drew when Drew walked out and quit, and then they're in Gorilla. Yeah,
this has to have been the first time it's ever been fucked with too, right? Like I know there's been some brawls briefly through.
Yeah, it was like outside of brawling. Outside of like fighting, this is legit the first time that Gorilla's been like obliterated to a point.
Yeah.
Because
doing something for the first time.
Oh yeah, it was something new and unique, and it's And you can anyone who's looking at this negatively, it's like, guys, this is WWE doing something new. They're doing something unique with it. Brief callback to earlier in the show, that camera shot of Braun, like when Ludwig was running around and Braun's running around, they meet.
That was cool.
That was a great camera shot. Like they are trying to do new.
Oh, that's a cool way.
Exactly, they're trying to do new, unique things. Allow them to do it. Not every single one is going to work. Some of it's going to fall flat on its face, but they're having more successes than they are failures. Hell, I love how they're transitioning to commercials now with the slow-mo instant replay of something happening outside the ring. I like that. Also, it is probably because they were short on time, but Xavier was supposed to wrestle Karrion Kross last night, and then they decided to just do a promo saying, "Oh, next week, one of you," kind of thing, because they were promoting that since Sunday that Woods was going to fight Kross. It was that. They announced that, and they announced Dragon Lee and Carlito. Those are the only two matches that they announced for Raw before Raw, outside of the qualifying matches, which they didn't give away who was in it. So I was like, because it was like 2:30 or 2:30. It was like 9:30, and I was like, okay, they still have to do Woods and Kross. They still have to do the triple threat, and they somehow got to debut the Wyatt Sick in this time frame. I was like, they're gonna have to do something. And then all of a sudden, Kross comes out and does the promo. What's that?
Did you know they were debuting?
We all knew. They had been dropping 617 for 3 weeks now.
Oh, see, I didn't pay attention.
Someone hasn't been paying attention to the QR codes.
Nope.
Yeah, they've been like, was it last week? Last week's QR code was literally UH 617, D for Dexter 617, Joe was J 617, Nick or NG for Nick.
You even knew it was those fuckers too, huh?
Oh yeah, like I said, the only one that they haven't really full out came out and said was Alexa. I think it was like 1A.
Well,
that's clearly Alexa Bliss kind of thing. But no, even I think on Clash, they had a QR thing and they said 617, the massacre begins, kind of thing. So everyone knew. That's why the start of the show, the Then Now Forever, was glitching out because everyone knew that tonight was the night. And even they said, the announcers like, "Oh, tonight's the night, right?" And they go, "Yeah, apparently it is." So everyone knew it was happening. That's why the crowd was extra oomph for it when it was about to happen, because everyone knew that they were debuting on the day after Clash, or the Raw after Clash of Champions. We've known that for about a good 3 weeks. But yeah, but I think they did a great job, and I don't know if we're going to see anything on SmackDown, because I don't know. It's not like they're drafted to Raw, you know. And I was telling my girlfriend, because I was like, well, Punk is definitely going to be on SmackDown because they're in Chicago, but Punk's a free agent. Punk's not signed to Raw or anything. And by Drew quitting, that means he can show up on SmackDown too, because he's not a part of Raw anymore now either. So that gives technically Drew a chance to pop up on SmackDown as well. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm real excited to see what's going on here. Also, how much longer are we away from Rhea coming back? Because I thought the whole, once again, Liv and Dom thing, I thought was great. Her taking the vest, and even Finn with the card, and Damien, everything with Judgment Day and Liv is still working on all cylinders. Everything's working great for that stuff. I thought Raw was a very strong Raw last night. Sheamus and Braun had a really good match. There really wasn't much to dislike about Raw last night. And there's usually always something to find that doesn't work. But I think Raw was really good last night. It was really fun. Now we're into the Money in the Bank, and then we're on our road. And are you bummed that you can officially say no to The Rock coming back at SummerSlam? Because he got hurt.
I'm not bummed because
he got hurt. He's out.
No, I know. I'm just saying I'm not bummed in the fact that like there's a lot of cool shit going on where I'm like, all right, we can still definitely pivot.
Yeah, Rock fucked his he fucked something up right here because it's all bruised up and shit from his MMA movie. So he's definitely not going to be ready for SummerSlam. Maybe he might be ready for Survivor Series. Like Sean maybe predicted. But anyway, before we go, the fantasy for the week. Like I said last week, when it's a PLE week, Jordan's team dominates mine, and it was no different. Jordan obliterated me this week, even with me having the main event at Clash of the Castle. Jordan won 478 to 380. His top wrestlers of the week were Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, and The Awesome Truth. and mine were Damien Priest, Bayley, and Soa Sikoa. But with that big win, he has now taken over the overall lead for points in the season. Jordan now leads 23-27 to 22-69. But after Raw last night, I have a nice commanding lead. Much like I said, if it's a non-PLE league, I tend to win.
Let's end on the PLE. We're not going to talk about Raw.
Yeah, so let's just put it this way. He's going to have a really, really big SmackDown to come back after my lead from Raw. So it's still fighting that same trend. PLE week, Jordan wins. Non-PLE week, I win. We also have some new players on the roster now, especially now with the Wyatt Sick. So we're going to be doing kind of a little supplement draft. We're probably not going to shoot that. We'll probably just discuss it amongst ourselves. So we're going to be adding some new wrestlers to our teams that have debuted since we did the draft. So our thing's going to grow a little bit more from there. Once we decide that, we'll probably tell you guys who we drafted on each side, just to give you guys a little bit of an update on that. But we will be back next week for our AEW show, where we'll be discussing Double or Nothing, because we still haven't discussed that yet. And then also discussing Forbidden Door, which comes out on the 30th. And then we'll be back the week after that for Money in the Bank. So we hope you guys tune in for all that. Let us know in the comments below. What did you guys think of Clash at the Castle? What did you guys think of the Wyatt Sick? Are you guys excited as much as we are with what it is? Do you guys already have your shirt? I don't yet, because I'm afraid they're going to put me on back order for a year. But let us know what you got.
Shirts are a lot easier than a mask. Go get a shirt.
It probably is. It probably is a lot easier. But yeah, let us know what you thought. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media as you see below. And until next time, I'm Sean Waskew. That is Jordan JPO Owens.
That's me.
And exactly. And the tongue-tied. In case we don't see you, don't try this at home unless it's on your little brother. Don't tell mom.
Yeah. Screw Timmy.
So, goodbye. Mwah. And good night. Bang!